All right, as we know, the president of Egypt, Hosni Mubarak, says, I am stepping down. The president of the United States says we want an orderly transition. Nice words. What do they mean? We couldn't think of a better person to get an opinion from than Dr. Walid Phares, who is the Fox News Middle Eastern expert. His latest book is called The Coming Revolution, Struggle for Freedom in the Middle East. Dr. Phares, did you know something we didn't when you wrote this book?
I didn't know that much.
Well, all right, but
we spoke about it. You were among the first ones to launch the book with me.
But that was before the events in Egypt, and I'm just wondering. Last night, as you listened to Hosni Mubarak, what does an orderly transition mean to him and to Egyptians? Do you think?
Well, that's still being negotiated. He wants a longer transition, which is orderly, and the demonstrators in the streets, they want him to orderly transit in 24 hours. That's the difference.
So, do they want democracy? Do the demonstrators want a democracy such as we have in this country?
That's the big question that we get all day. We don't know really the nature, the identity of the entire demonstrators. What we know is this. In the beginning, when it was launched by people who really want democracy. And that's the story is not really out. These were bloggers. They call themselves al-Mudawwinun, meaning the bloggers in Arabic. They put a Facebook out. 85,000 Egyptian citizens signed, meaning with their faces. That's really courageous. And then thousands took the streets from these Facebook subscribers. And that has encouraged civil society in Egypt, which has not demonstrated in the past. So the past, if you go back 2 years, you'd see that the Muslim Brotherhood, the communists, the supporters of Nasser were always the guys who take the streets. This time it was civil society like the Cedars Revolution in Lebanon or the Green Movement in Iran. So they put about 100,000 and 200,000. But third day comes the Muslim Brotherhood and the other political parties. Now they realize that this is a serious demonstration, serious change. They saw that the international community is protecting it. They realize that the army is not going to go against it. This is the window. So as of the third or fourth day, you have Muslim Brotherhood and other political activists who are sort of in control of the microphone. They are the ones who are, chanting. They are the ones who are saying, well, America is behind that, and etc. But the bulk of the demonstrators is not. It's really for democracy. Right, well, the problem, they don't have their own leaders in the front line. Right. Their leaders are on laptops.
Well, how much sway do you think the Muslim Brotherhood has on the, everyday Egyptian?
It is a battle. I mean, when I say they control the microphone, they don't control the minds. It's very different. So it depends on what we're going to do. Meaning, if we have a good architecture, tell Mr. Mubarak, you've got to go with it, and then he's on his way, slowly and nicely. If we partner with the armed forces, which really are the backbone, they are the backbone of Egypt, they can block the Muslim Brotherhood. But keep in mind, for them to do so, they need a political cabinet, a government above them, because they follow the orders of a government, which basically is not going to reduce them, is not going to be Muslim Brotherhood. So the armed forces are telling us, if you can get us a coalition of people who basically will not harm us and give us, all what we need, including your cash, of course, then we can block the Muslim Brotherhood on a long term.
Are there viable political parties in Egypt besides the Muslim Brotherhood and the NDP, which is Mubarak's old party? Is there a coalition that could be built without either one of those?
No. At this point in time, you've got to have a coalition representing the demonstrators, which has, that's how they say it, everybody. When they say everybody, it's the mild way to say, well, the Muslim Brotherhood will have their delegates in that big, alliance. Now, the question is, the leader of this coalition also, that's another problem, is al-Baradei. I mean, we looked around to see if there is any equivalent to Lesh Falessa or, something like that. They are too young. The ones who are really able to do the job we think they should are too young. So it is going to be a very difficult passage between now and a couple of years or maybe 3 years where you're going to be able to identify the NGOs that we need to work with, whereby you're going to have a sort of a very vast coalition. They'll be fighting against each other. They're going to be in crisis. They're going to form government and then disassemble them. The army will remain the guarantor, hoping that the Muslim Brotherhood are not going to take advantage too much. I am inclined to say that the Muslim Brotherhood are going to try to take advantage as much as they can.
What is the future of Israel in all of this and the future of the 79 Peace Accord?
Well, the future of Israel is really Israel's strength. At the end of the day, The current Egyptian army, their national doctrine for now, after 30 years of being trained by America and so on, they can sustain a lot of pressure from the Islamist element, including the Muslim Brotherhood, for a few years, but not longer than that. With regard to the peace agreement, the Muslim Brotherhood are very smart. They're saying, we're going to commit to every international obligation of Egypt, before you get to government. Mm-hmm. And then once you are in government, we've seen it with Hezbollah, and we've seen it with Hamas, we've seen it with everybody else. First, they are very smooth, so they can control the government. And I would tell you, the Muslim Brotherhood may target first not the Ministry of Defense. They know that's not yet what they need to take. Ministry of Education. Because through the Ministry of Education and other, social services, they're going to start to take the control through the bureaucracy. And when I'm saying that, the Egyptians who are pro-democracy, they know them. It's they really know how the Muslim Brotherhood operate. They need to be empowered by us. My recommendation has... Mm-hmm.
Are you optimistic that a democratic government that is that turns out to be an ally of the United States is possible? That outcome is possible in Egypt?
You're not going to get, after a few weeks from now, the same Hosni Mubarak kind of a government that does everything we ask them. If that is the question, no. Anything we're going to see is going to be less than what we saw in 30 years. And since we are consumers and we want results, I think many in the West are going to be frustrated. Now, long-term, ask me long-term, I would say, if we have smart architecture in Washington and we reach out to this young element inside Egypt, which is democratic, then we're going to get better than Mubarak. But to get to better than Mubarak, we're going to go through the mud for a period of time, and then we may get there.
So we need patience, obviously.
Dr. Phares, great to talk to you.
Yes, of course. And we need engineering in Washington. We don't have it now.
Okay. Right. Dr. Walid Phares, we always appreciate you coming on the show. Thank you very much for your insights.
Thank you for having me.